Okay, I'm going to take off the exhaust here and fully weld it. And as you can see, we talked about doing V-bands, but I should be able to get all this off in one piece, no problem. It's all should be pretty, I mean, it's not solid mounted, so we've got room for expansion and flex, but even like big bumps aren't gonna cause too big of a problem. So I think this should work out pretty good. We'll fully weld it and make it so. All right, another new day. Got this finished welded and cooled. Discuss my technique. It's not necessarily the best thing to do, but 100% argon. I use stainless wire, of course, for welding stainless. And then I set the machine pretty hot with quite a bit of wire speed, and then I just do a bunch of tacks, basically. So tack, let it cool just a little bit, tack the next one, let it cool just a little, and tack the next one. So it's a lot of flashing light that you guys didn't need to see. But two pieces are now one, so that was the goal. Now we're going to move on to something a little more difficult. I am not a TIG welder, but I have one, and we're going to try to make some brackets for the radiator. So my goal is, with this beautiful brand new track spec radiator, is to weld some brackets to the side of this guy. And this could be dangerous, but I'm kind of a let's do it kind of guy. So I can promise already my welds will not look like this, but hopefully I don't blow a hole in it, and hopefully I stick some pieces together. So you guys can come along as we try that. I have a plan in place, but for now none of that's going to happen until I get back over here and try some practice some more aluminum, because I haven't done it in probably a year, and I've never really done it that well. So we'll try get some settings on the machine and try and do this as best we can, get some decent beads laid down before we go attack a beautiful radiator. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got the Fisher-Price TIG welder, and but it's about my skill level, so not really a reason to spend any more. I've got, I took a wire wheel, cleaned up the aluminum I'm trying to weld, and I'm trying to simulate the joint that I'm doing. It's going to be, I believe this is called a lap joint, where it like overlaps. So I'll be on the edge of this angle, and then into the corner there, or maybe it's a corner joint, I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying a tungsten I've never even used before. Well, size wise, this is a 16th, this is 1/8 inch aluminum, so I'm using a 16th 2% lanthanated, I believe. I do have a gas lens that I put in here in my Fisher-Price thing with a clear cup. And I took my, I've got a sharp tip. I did that on the grinder over there, and I think I've only used that grinder for sharpening tungsten. So where am I? Great, great, there it is. So we're going to just jump right in. I'm going to set the amps to a little over 100. Let's turn this thing on. I've got no idea what I've got for flow here. Let's check that out quick. Looks like I'm at about not quite 15. There I'm at like 20. It's probably a little overkill, but I'm good with that. TIG, AC, not a button, and straight, no pulse. Everything else is just a guess. Lots of post flow. So let's just try it, huh? Let's just see what happens. I think I did a pretty good job cleaning. I used acetone also after I brushed it. So I don't know, if nothing else, this will be good and funny for people. That didn't go well, as you might have guessed. I switched over to 3/32. I don't know, that's why they say it's so hard, I guess. Mostly because when there's a problem, I don't know what the problem is, and I'm just guessing, and I'm trying different things, and it's, I don't know, it seems like I cleaned this really well, but it's just pulling dirt up into the puddle constantly. It's not dirt, I'm sure, but carbon or whatever, I don't know, oxidation. So it looks like trash. Two pieces are sort of one, but I don't think we can do that on the car and hope that I don't screw it up. So I guess I better find somebody, because that, or else go with a different mounting solution. So back to the drawing board for a little bit. Well, I don't think it's worth putting any more time into me trying to figure that out until I get someone who knows what they're doing to help me and teach me, because it's just beating my head against the wall with that thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna have to outsource this. So for now, I'm going to put the front end of the car back on so that I can mock everything up and get the positioning I need, and then we can bring that over to get it welded somewhere else. All right, well, I'm trying to get the old radiator mocked up, and I'd like to reuse this ducting that he's got going on, because it's not bad. But we have a bit of a problem. This is our oil feed for the oil cooler that's built into it, and that is going to smash the sway bar. So we got to move it. So I think we're gonna have to go forward a little bit and maybe up a little bit, and I think we're gonna end up just getting rid of all this and redoing it, which isn't the end of the world, but also not the greatest news. So I guess I'll pull this out, start cutting some stuff out, and I guess I'll give it a quick look over and make sure there's not anything else that we're going to run into. But this radiator is a little bit shorter than the one that was in here, so we can go up a little ways. In fact, let me show you how far. So that bend there is where the old radiator used to go up to. So we've got 3-4 inches of clearance up. So if I lift this radiator up to there, we should still clear the hood. And we might have to do a different drain valve, which isn't a big deal. And I might have to clearance cradle a little bit. So the question is, do I just try and go up, because then I can reuse most of this and just change the angle at the bottom, or do we set the radiator where we want it and rebuild everything else? Cripes. Race cars, right? Am I right?
Please like, subscribe, and share the Jeremy Swenson Racing channel. Smash buttons.
Alright, I've cut out the shroud. As you can see, there's nothing there. And I've just got the radiator set on a couple blocks for now, so we can kind of get an idea where we want it. I think we'll go a little higher than where we're at, because obviously ground clearance is an issue, but I think we're still high enough even here. But the good news is we would be cutting out that whole brace there, because we're not using that for mounting it. And I think we'll have plenty of room. Fans will fit easily. We can run whatever fittings we want basically for lines. And the hardest part is going to be making a new shroud. And that is going to be up to Flexi Jeffy, because he's got the skills to pay the bills and I don't. So that will end up being probably later in the project, but I want to get this radiator mounted so I can start making lines and keep moving forward. Well, I think that's where it's going to live. If you can't tell from these brackets, which are not done yet, I'm going to go have a competent welder weld this, and then we'll attach these brackets to the frame with some nutserts and probably some kind of rubber isolator in between on both sides. It is obviously now straight up. Should give us plenty of room to build a shroud. We got plenty of room for the fans, and most importantly, I think we got plenty of room for the fittings to go without hitting anything. So, currently crisis averted until the next one. Okay, we're back from Sandbeck Race Development, and as usual, they do a real nice job. Justin over there is a stud. He's got a little bit better skill at TIG welding than I do. Roughly 100% better than what I could do. So that's welded all the way around on both sides. So now we've got the radiator set in there, and plenty of room for all the fittings and everything to go. Obviously we've got the fan and the fans and the shroud on. And I still don't have a steering rack, thanks for nothing, Ferris. Otherwise, we should be able to start making some lines up pretty soon. So I'm gonna go take an inventory on what I need for fittings and go to my local speed shop and see what they've got available, and hopefully start making up some lines probably tomorrow, maybe tonight. I'm fortunate enough to have a tow rig that I really only use for towing, and but I need to use it today for to go get some supplies, and it's below zero, it's a diesel, and I'm a little nervous. Let's see how this goes. Huh, not bad. That's a relief. I mean, I didn't love it, but could have been worse. All right, we'll let that run for about 10 hours and then we'll go drive somewhere. Yoo-wee! We're getting the intake ready to go in, and of course that means pulling off the injectors from the old intake. So I got the rail off, and rather than just slapping these on, we're going to take a little trip with these injectors to go get them cleaned and flow tested. And that's something I do every year on the red car because it's ethanol and it sits there all winter. So every year I take the injectors out and we go flow and clean and flow test them, just to be on the safe side. It's cheap insurance compared to melting a cylinder down or something. And so we're going to do the same. I have no idea. This car wasn't driven much, so and I can tell that by the smell of the fuel that is now all over my leg. So we're going to take these in and get them cleaned and tested. Say hi. What you got, Mikey? First one?
Nope, second set.
How'd they look so far?
So far, it's even.
Sweet. Want to explain what you're doing and why?
Flow testing, make sure you don't blow your shit up.
Perfect. Cool, thanks man. This is not my shop. Sandbeck Race Development here. We got lots of cool stuff, including some ridiculous methanol drag car down there on the hub dyno. And I can barely breathe in here. My eyes are watering. Anyway, I like supporting these guys. It's awesome having them close. They can do stuff like this for me. Yesterday they welded up that aluminum for me. So it's nice to have a place like this, and I like to support local as much as I can. And you guys should do the same, especially when it comes summertime. If we're allowed to be outside again, you guys should definitely come out and support these guys when they're doing events and stuff. They put a lot of work in to make sure that we get to have fun and a place to go have fun. So come out here and drift and drag race and whatever else they have going on. All right, we're back from SRD. We got the fuel injectors all installed, ready to go. I had like 3 ports on here that I won't be using, so I just capped them off. One's a tiny vacuum. This, I believe, normally goes to the valley cover, I think. Yeah, or maybe it's this one, I don't remember. But either way, I capped those all off. We're not using those. I had a throttle body laying around from my ZR1, so put that on. Had to use a spacer to get it to fit, so we got this big old heavy spacer on there. It doesn't need to be that big, but we'll leave it for now and see how everything fits. I got some gaskets I got to put on the bottom, and then we can put it in the car. Oh, and I've got basically the only vacuum I am using is the brake booster port, and then we've got our map sensor here, which this is really strange to me that you're supposed to just pop them in. I mean, they stay in there pretty good, but it's just a little weird little grommet, which I put a new one on. But I don't know, it's just weird to me that there's nothing mechanical to hold it in place, really. Granted, it should only ever see vacuum or nothing, because we're not forcing air in this thing, so I don't know. Either way, it's weird to me. But that is about ready to go on. What are you doing? You're standing inside the engine. So am I. Inside the engine compartment. Alright, so what do we do here, Jace? We've got the crossover pipes all set. Well, hopefully. We'll find out here if the intake fits, then we know if they're right or not. We might have to adjust them a little bit. This is somewhat of an interesting setup, but it should work. We'll try here in just a second to get the intake on. Alright, well that took a little longer than I would have liked. I ended up taking the intake back off again and switched around the routing completely of all that crossover stuff. The steam kit, whatever you want to call it. But now she's on, she's torqued down, and we can move on. And we got clearance. There's a lot of tight stuff in the back, but the way they had that thing set up, it was making contact, so I was able to switch that around, and now it fits quite a bit better. So I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Tomorrow, like I said, I think we've got a special guest coming in, and we've got a bunch of stuff to do. I think what I'd like to do with him is to get him inside and have him do a bunch of the stuff inside that it's a little tougher for a big boy like me to do. So I think that's the plan, and we'll see you soon. What do we say, Jace?
If you're watching,
No, thanks for watching.
thanks for watching. Smash buttons. Bye.
Good job.